Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for being with us today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Vet. Thank you so much for having me. It's a joy to be here, and I know that's even the title of your show. So I love that you represent my feelings very accurately.
Well, that's good. That's good. We have you on today because I'm celebrating. In fact, I'm celebrating all week long, but I'm
Oh,
celebrating the 100th episode, which was today. But we are celebrating with giveaways. We're celebrating with bringing guests back, like you, and
mm,
all kind of fun stuff. And I asked you to come back because we had a great conversation. And I will note in the comments where they can go back and listen to the original, the original broadcast or the original podcast, I should say. But your episode was very popular, and so I'm trying to bring back some guests who had popular episodes and just kind of catch up with them and see how things are going, and also talk about the Bible Project, which of course is what you do.
oh, I love it. Well, first off, 100 episodes, dear. That is like if people do podcasts, they know how much work it is to get like 10 podcasts out there. And so when you think of just the time and dedication and follow up and follow through and editing and all the things that go into it, oh my gosh, 100, I mean, that's just phenomenal. So congrats. It's a huge, huge deal.
Thank you so much. Where are you now?
I am in random. Our office is just down the street, but I'm in an apartment complex. We rent two apartments here for the Bible Project for when all of our staff are coming into town. But there's a great kind of shared common space that nobody uses ever, and so I commandeer this if I need to instead of our kind of sometimes hustling and bustling office. So
Now it looks great, and I love the artwork behind you. So yeah, no, I had to know.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fun little spot.
it's really nice. Yeah. Well, so let me get the long title out of the way. So you are the chief, the chief global focus
Gosh,
and strategic relationships officer for the Bible Project. The Bible
or just
Project,
Mike,
or just
Mike
Mike,
for short.
exactly. For anyone, well, here's the thing. I love it when you go to the Bible Project page and you look at the team. They have all these wonderful titles, but yet they are line drawing. So I love that about it.
Yeah,
It's so much fun, and not cartoonish, but line drawings. And so
yeah,
it's a picture of you or a line drawing of you
yeah.
along with
Our
this
our
complicated title. So it's just fun.
our titles are way more fancy than we are. Let's just put it that way. So,
Well, can you tell us about what the for anyone who doesn't know, and I would find that hard to believe, but tell us exactly what the Bible Project is.
yeah, yeah, we're a nonprofit animation studio or ed tech company here in Portland, Oregon, where we make content, primarily videos, but we have a podcast and a bunch of other things to help people experience the Bible as a unified story that leads to Jesus. And so, if you're like me and you pick up the Bible and it's something that's important to you, you want to read it, you want to dive in, but you're like, seriously, sometimes this thing just it confuses me. A lot of the time, it confuses me. They're old stories, maybe the language that's being used, maybe all of that kind of stuff. It's just difficult, and so I know I find myself having a desire to read the Bible, but maybe not having the ability or the feeling like I really know how to approach it. And so we create a bunch of content that helps people like me open up the Bible and read it for yourself. And you know, it's just a complex series of books, and so we're into helping people that want to read the Bible and really seeing the huge overarching narrative from the very beginning, from the book of Genesis all the way to the book of Revelation, where Jesus is the thread from the beginning all the way through. And so we want to help people, because I mean, for me, when I came to the church, I thought the Old Testament was old. I thought it was like, I don't need to look at that. I was very much that like just read the red letters of Jesus or read the Gospels, and that's all I needed. And we try to help people go, gosh, no, it's actually a really amazing, crazy, beautiful book that you can actually just see those threads. So that's what we do.
Well, and it's, as you said, it's for people who have difficulty getting into the Bible or understanding it, but it's also for people who do like to do Bible study and study groups even looking at it together, and churches, because our
Yeah.
church actually uses some of the Bible Project videos,
Yeah,
especially
we have
especially during
pastors.
COVID.
Totally. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it's been a huge blessing over COVID for a lot of folks. But it's true. We've got kids to pastors to theology teachers that, use the videos and find them helpful for themselves and for their students, but all the way down to kids. We've got, I've got stories of whole families, especially over COVID, that were looking for something to do together. And they'd sit and watch a Bible Project video and then talk about it as a family. And that would be with like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. And so they're primarily, animation, so like, glorified cartoons, but it doesn't mean they're for kids, in the sense of like it's not just for kids. They're definitely for people like me and you.
Absolutely. And I mentioned going to your website, but where people really can see this is on YouTube.
Yeah, we make them for free. They're available for everybody. YouTube is a primary channel just because everyone knows YouTube. It's easy to access. We also have them all on our website and inside the YouVersion Bible app. They're in a couple different places out there, but really the aim and goal is to give everything away for free. And so YouTube was a great platform for us to be able to do that. And it allows for
So
us to have people all over the world watching them too. So at any given time, like right now, if I log on and look at the YouTube stats, there will almost guaranteed be 180 different countries, people watching at this exact moment around the world. So YouTube's pretty cool for that as well.
yeah, and perfect segue. So I was just going to say that you guys have a really big team. I think most people, when they think of the Bible Project, they think of the two guys that they either hear or see. Sometimes
Yep.
when there are videos talking about the production of the videos, but your team is massive, and you are all about getting that word out. And you just mentioned the international stats, and so talk a little bit about what you do, and why it's so important to not just think so insular as far as getting the word out to us in the United States, but also thinking about the fact that everybody needs to know about the Bible and what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, we don't feel like we're just like a US based company. We actually have close to 400 people working around the world on this project. And so they're re-illustrating and reanimating all of this content into different languages, which is amazing. So, we've got, yeah, the heartbeat is just if we want to help people experience the Bible as a unified story that leads to Jesus, that doesn't stop with just English speakers here in America. That, goes to Arabic and Swahili and Russian and Chinese and, all the different ones. And so that's one of the things I have the privilege of giving my time to, is leading a team of people that oversee these studios around the world that are re-illustrating, reanimating, redoing all the voiceover, like all of that kind of stuff is fully getting contextualized into those languages. And so currently we're working on 50 different languages, which is wild. That means we have 50 teams around the world that are fully focused on just doing this. So it's a humbling thing to get to be a part of, but it's super important. There's a lot of these countries that, in America, we have lots of content that we can consume, if it's a podcast like yours or, Bible Project stuff. But in a lot of countries and a lot of different languages, there's very little resources, biblical resources. There might be a Bible, but there's very little on top of that. And so in places like Myanmar, in Burmese, there's like zero literature in about, the Bible, Christian stuff. Like you've got the Bible and that's it. And so super important for us to help create our content in that language, because we'll be one of the only resources people have to understand and read the Bible. So.
Well, that's great. And I hear another language outside. It's my dog barking, but
We haven't done that one yet. That
haven't done
one's
that
that
one
one's
yet. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. But you have your own faith walk, and I loved it when you said that the Bible Project is for everybody. It's for you. It's for me. We got a chance to talk a little bit about your faith walk, and also the wonderful place that your mom played in your life, and also that faith walk that we got into. But for those of you who don't, for those of us who don't know you, tell us a little bit about how you came to Christ, and then I'd like to talk about, we're coming up to International Podcasting Day, and you do so much
Yeah.
with international. I'd love to talk to you about why you think all this is important. But let's go back to your faith walk a little bit, and tell us a little bit about how you came to Christ, and then I'd like to talk about, we're coming up to International Podcasting Day, and you do so much with international. I'd love to talk to you about why you think all this is important. But let's go back to your faith walk a little bit, and basically how you got to the Bible Project.
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up, a lot of people don't know this faith, but I grew up Baha'i. It's a religion out of Iran in the 1850s. They wouldn't say this, but it's kind of birthed out of Islam. It's an offshoot of Islam. Have their own prophet and speaker and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that was what my family was when I was growing up. And then I came to faith through a missionary while I was traveling in Turkey. And it was somebody from Australia that was actually spending some time in Turkey and meeting different folks in Turkey. And they got some Canadian kid who was a Baha'i and ended up sharing the gospel with me. And his way of leading me to Jesus was really, I grew up without a dad. My dad left when I was 3. I had a pretty gnarly abusive stepdad. And just had dad issues, and so did he. And he used that as kind of a gateway to go, that we have this eternal Father who cares for us and loves us and sees us for who we truly are, and enter into the gospel and enter into Jesus. And he gave me a Bible, and I read the Gospel of Matthew in one sitting, and in my own way kind of gave myself to following Jesus. And so it was really through the scriptures for me that I came to faith. It was somebody handing me a Bible and saying, well, read this, learn about Jesus, and let's talk about it tomorrow. And the next day I was able to say, oh my gosh, this is the person I want to follow. And it was been a journey since then, for sure. But the scriptures have definitely held close in my heart for that, which is also why the Bible Project for me is so important. I know that what the Bible did for me can do for so many others. And so I just want to get that out to as many people as possible.
And there may be people who don't know a lot about the Baha'i faith, but you recognize Jesus in the Baha'i faith.
Oh, we do. And man, I'll be honest, Baha'is it was such a beautiful community to be a part of. They embraced equality. They embraced equality of religions, equality of races, equality of sexes. Like you think about somebody preaching that in 1850 Iran, very opposite and different to the culture that they were in. And so, there's a lot of things that have sat with me from the Baha'i faith that have really shaped my view on the world. And I'm so grateful for that. And the Baha'is did see Jesus as a prophet, they see all the prophets as different teachers that come down from God to teach specific things at specific times. And, Jesus came down 2,000 years ago to teach about love. And then Muhammad, they believe, came to teach obedience, and Baha'u'llah came to teach equality. And so they have these kind of this pathway of faith through all the different prophets. But they didn't see Jesus as like Son of God, resurrected, all the things that when I read in the Bible going like, wait a minute, this isn't exactly what I learned. Like we're taught to read the Bible, we're taught to embrace it, but not necessarily, this person of Jesus being who we believe that he is.
Mm-hmm, right. Some people say that your earthly father, the relationship with your earthly father, plays a real impact in the relationship you have with your heavenly Father. And since you just mentioned your dad a little bit, and then your stepdad, um, once you discovered God and Christ, did you have some difficulty with your relationship with the Heavenly Father?
Does, do. I mean, absolutely. I think all of the above. For a long time, and I don't know. Hey, listen, I'm not speaking on behalf of the Bible Project. This is just Mike at this moment. But for a long time, I would refer to God as Mother, because that's just for me what was. And I believe that it's mother, father. I believe that it's a genderless. He created male and female in his image. So that's my theology, that there is this, I push against kind of some of the patriarchic things that we have inside of our own faith paradigm. But that's just me. Again, I'm not speaking for the Bible Project, but for me, that's been super helpful. And I now can look at God as being father and mother, and this whole picture. But absolutely, are you kidding me? Yeah, it's probably going to be something I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life.
If someone's watching now and is in that similar situation, do you have any advice for how to, or maybe like you said, maybe it is just looking at the Father as God and not even give a gender to it. But any advice you have on working on that relationship? Because I think we all want to get closer to our Lord, and
Yeah.
I think that sometimes a lot of stuff gets in the way for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's always best, again, way easier said than done, but to look at the scriptures as the starting point and not necessarily impose our lens always into the scriptures, but allow the story of God and who she is into our framework. And so I know when I read the scriptures and I see a God that's going after Israel and just so faithful and forgiving. And I mean, gosh, it's a messy story. You see Israel like doing this and then way down here and then doing okay and then way down here. And this God that's just relentlessly, saying, no, like I chose you, like I'm with you, I'm going to bring you out of this, allowing that to change, because that wasn't my father. That when my dad left when I was 3, my dad was the opposite. He was like, oh, things are getting tough, I'm out. And so it's difficult to allow that framework not to kind of mess with, well, is that the way God's going to react too? Like if I start being difficult, because I'm difficult, I'm a human, I've got good days and bad days and good months and bad months, and is he just going to be like, cool, Mike was really good last month, but this month I'm out? That would be my take based on my human experience. But looking through the scriptures, I think that's why it's important we read the Bible and read the scriptures to understand the faithfulness of God, like who God is from Genesis. Like even Adam and Eve, you think of like, this is like, you were walking with God, created you, literally your father, mother, whatever, and then you do the opposite of what she asked you to do, and you feel like you get banished from this Garden of Eden, but like you still are getting pursued. Even in the midst of that, you're pursued. You're given clothes by God because you all of a sudden start realizing you're naked. Instead of God just shaming them right off the bat, he goes, oh, you feel shame right now? Let me clothe you. Like that's right after they made that mistake. So I feel like those are the things. I want to read those stories to remind myself of who God is and allow that to shape my impression. And so, yeah, but it's a tough journey.
It is a tough journey. And there are so many people out there who feel like they're not worthy, who feel like they cannot. In fact, so we hear this in many services. And in fact, I just heard it yesterday. Um, if you feel like you cannot, that God doesn't want you, just say, Lord, I want to know you. I want to be with you, because it's that shame and that's brought on
Mm-hmm.
by sin and makes you feel unworthy. And then because others would treat you unworthy, but the Heavenly Father
Yeah.
doesn't. And so I think
Yeah.
people do have difficulty with that relationship because they're like, well, I'm so used to getting put down or
Yeah.
abandoned. How could I follow this person I can't even see? I mean, I know, I'm not
Yeah.
worthy enough for him. So
And read the Psalms. I mean, you're allowed to say stuff like that too. You can say, I mean, gosh, I've gotten so much better at being able to say, you know what, God, I think you hate me right now, or I think you're mad at me. Like, just cry it. It's okay. Like, this is
yeah.
what I feel. God can handle our feelings, and he can handle our discomfort, and he can handle our anger, and he can handle our doubt. He can handle all of that. And we can see that throughout the scriptures. Like just read the Psalms, and it's riddled with those kinds of like, where are you? Like, I feel so alone. And we feel that too. But he shows up and he answers. And so I think I was taught for so long that would be like blasphemous to like have doubt or to be angry at God or to be angry at like how you don't do that. And it's like, wait a minute, like these people throughout the scriptures, that's how they were. And God showed up for them and answered them and, cried with them and lifted them. So yeah, just being a lot more okay with your feelings and just realize God can handle it all. And that's why he sent Jesus. Jesus felt all those things. Like he knew all of that. He had his best friends betray him. He had his closest allies, turn away from him. He had people that he was going to build the church off of literally turn their back at his deepest. I mean, just think about that and go, God knows what it feels like in all the things that we're feeling. And he still is here and he understands. And so I think we just got to be more honest with ourselves.
So true. And I think this is what the Bible Project shows. If anyone thinks that the Bible is this holier than thou document, you've never picked it up, because you use the word messy. It can be crazy. You're like, why are these
It
people making
is.
the same mistakes over and over again? And wow, this person who was was God's beloved. He just had an affair and killed the husband. There's crazy stuff that happens. It's because we're
Yeah,
human. So it is
that's
it is
right.
life. It is messy, and the Bible Project just brings all that out and helps us understand the continuity, as you said earlier, but just what's in there. And
Yeah,
it's quite the story.
it is quite the story.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And it needs a guide. And that's why, and there's lots of guides out there. We're just one of many. But, we try to do it in a way that is helpful. So,
Yes, yes. So I just want to kind of wrap up with talking about in 10 days on September 30th, it's International Podcast Day. And so this for me is I'm
mm,
excited about that because, I'm celebrating this week, 100th, podcast episode, and then next week is going to be the International Podcast Day. You are so graceful to appear on a lot of people's podcasts, and we appreciate you for that. Tell us a little bit about why you think this international Christian message, opportunity for Christian message, is so important, especially these days.
yeah, well, I mean, podcasts, listen, for the longest time, Christians, followers of Jesus, led the creative charge in the world. I mean, when you think about the printing press, as an example, the scrolls actually that we find in David pre-printing press. I mean, the libraries that were created around the scriptures were what birthed the libraries that we have today in places like Ephesus and all over. The printing press was originally created to print the Bible. I mean, it was the first book that was like mass produced. And I feel like getting the message out, having a felt need, helps us start to creatively think, how can we do that in the best way possible? And podcasts are just one of those future, I mean, they've been around for a while, but they still are one of the major places that people find content that they care about, or they have questions they want to learn or dive deeper. And so instead of and listen, radio is great too. But instead of just being on radio, I think we need to be pushing the envelope. So whether that's podcasts, whether that's YouTube, whether that's VR, virtual reality, whatever the future is, we should be driving that as a creative front to get the message of Jesus out around the world. And so I say yes to a lot of podcasts because it's where I believe people are going to when they are sitting in their car or sitting at home or have an extra 30 minutes and are like, I want to learn something. I want to listen to somebody that I trust. It's where they're going to go. And there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of content out there. And so I just want to be a part of not necessarily sharing myself, but being a part of helping share Jesus and the Bible with as many people as possible. So podcasts are a great, great way to do that. And you always get to meet wonderful people like yourself. I think it's just a great, for me, it's an excuse to hang out with people that I like and share stories and help as best I can.
Absolutely, and have great conversations. So you mentioned answering questions. So we actually have a question. So the Bible
Yeah.
Project is free for us to watch, which is amazing. But I have a question. How is the Bible Project funded?
It's just funded by humans around the world. It's a nonprofit in the sense that we have people that give, $5 a month, $10 a month, almost like, if I'm going to do a Netflix subscription for $10 a month, there's just a ton of people that say, I'm going to give Bible Project $10 a month as like a subscription. And what that allows is it allows us to continue to pay it forward and give it away. So we're just super grateful for people around the world that have said, listen, I love what you're doing. I want to be with you. We call them patrons, kind of like the old patron art world of the medieval times, where you'd actually have patron saints or patron givers that would fund the Leonardo da Vinci's and the Michelangelos and all these artists, where they would commission them or they would pay for them to live so that they could keep producing art, because they believed that art was a medium that needed to be poured into. And so we just have all these patrons around the world that basically prepay for these videos to get made, and that allows you and me to watch them for free.
So they're paying it forward. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if there are people watching who love the Bible Project and would like to contribute, can they just go to your website?
They can just go to our website, and there's a little, I can't remember what it might say, give or something like that. It's pretty low key. Part of it is that we don't want to ever feel like there's a bait and switch of like, we need your money and we want your money to go do this. Listen, if you feel called to be a part of this and give, awesome. If you don't, it's totally okay. You know, we really just want to keep making this content available for as many people. And so absolutely, would we love more people giving towards it? For sure. It allows us to continue to make more podcasts and videos and everything else. But we also want people to feel really called into that place of generosity. And so, yeah, we don't make it super flashy, and it's not like we're going to be like sending you emails about needing more funds. We just, you know, if you want to be a part of it, we would love that.
Absolutely. Well, either to watch or to give, go to BibleProject.com. You can also see the videos on YouTube, and you know, I'd love to see it continue for years to come. I've watched many of the videos and found them very, very helpful. I'm by no means a
Mm,
Bible scholar, and it has been very helpful to me to really kind of dig in and to learn more about my faith and about the history of my faith. So. Mike,
mm.
thanks so much. This has been great. Thanks for coming on the live today to help me celebrate the 100th episode. And we'll have to have you back sometime on the podcast.
Anytime, dear. You got the bat phone, so whatever
All
works
right.
best for you. But congrats on 100. So great.
Thanks so much, Mike. You take care.
All right, you too.